Alright, everybody, welcome to another week of our show Indie Inquiries, where each week we review Steam store pages and provide marketing advice and critiques to help developers better sell their games. I am Josh Spicer from Game Wisdom, and joining me, my co host from Nexus Games, Sharky.
Hello, everybody. And again, as usual, not for very much longer. We
Mm-hmm.
the
So,
hashtag soon will name our company, rename it.
mm-hmm. So, are you ready to get into this week's offerings?
Yeah, let's get down into it.
Alright. So, we have two games this week that were not submissions, unfortunately, but there were two games that kind of struck or caught our eye that we wanted to take a look at further. And we're going to be beginning with Sandwalkers. This is an upcoming, looks like, kind of a turn based RPG style game. It's from the same developers as Legend of Keepers, which was a game that we both played that it was okay, but nothing like too exciting for us.
I really liked it,
Mhm.
but I I I did feel like they did a few bad things, like when they had the free version, and then they when they came out with the paid version, they completely nerfed the free version.
Mm-hmm.
And after I had paid for the bonus stuff in the free version, and the paid version was not all that interesting to me,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that really stung.
Mm-mm. I'll see if they can do anything better this time. So, as always, let's begin with the thumbnail. So, overall, I would say this is a good thumbnail. Like, it's not like sticking out to me, but I think the elements here work.
Yeah, and let's see here.
They have kind of like the custom font. I like kind of like the interplay between like the light, medium dark, and then full dark. It really like kind of segments into like three distinct areas.
Yeah, and there is structure here between the top of the character with that green and the bottom of the character with the yellow, and then
Mm-hmm.
the name forming a structural triangle there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think like overall, like it I'm not sure if I really like the character. Like the thumbnail's not really telling me what this game is. And that's going to be a problem that's going to persist as we go through this review.
Yeah, it is, and it has a it's not standing out as much as it could stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think if we're grade for this?
Well, like we've said, like it doesn't do anything like wrong. Like there's nothing here that I think we would like mark this down for. But at the
Mm,
same time, it's not doing anything that kind of goes like above and beyond. So I feel like high B, maybe low A, somewhere in there. What do you think?
yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Why don't we split the difference?
Yeah, I think I'll go with a B plus, just because of the fact that it's just not wowing me. Like if there's something on here that would just immediately catch my eye, I would say easy A minus A. But without that kind of strong hook, I think it does hurt it just a little bit.
Yeah, I'll go with A minus.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, are you ready for? Wait, uh, not entirely, Simon. I think that may get us into trouble. We start reviewing YouTube channels, and it is
Yeah,
a different kind of skill set. But
yeah.
for
I don't
people,
think we're in a knowledge place to
mhm,
be able to review a YouTube channel. We don't have a good enough knowledge base.
yeah. I have some ideas on it, but I think anything I would say would get me in trouble with other YouTubers.
Mm.
But what is the chat thing? Let us know in the comments about that one. If you want to see us really get into trouble there. But are you ready for the trailer?
If Steam is,
Let's see.
Steam is not. Okay, it's going now.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. We have a kind of exciting cold opening, or medium.
It's a cold opening. It's just not a good one.
From the wind, they gave shelter.
I mean, I do like how they put the studio name and stuff integrate into the trailer.
But between two trees.
Oh,
now
Steam
the
is
trees are so far
jittering my foot, my stream, my video
teller
for some
of the
reason.
13th caravan of the Macaw, the only one still living. As it was for the 12 before us.
They're really going for kind of like the darkest dungeon narrator explains it all kind of thing. But this person is no Wayne June.
May our experience
serve
you well.
And plus, I really think they need gameplay spliced in here.
With continuing the work of
like, the art isn't bad, but at the same time, I know it's not gameplay art.
Create a new haven, that the caravan that follows you may go even further, and continue our quest for knowledge.
That last one, where they were pushing the ball from a far distance, might have been gameplay, though.
The 100th, to repair the ancient folly that made this world hostile.
But doubtful.
To life.
And then we actually get gameplay footage, 1:27.
Besides the code opening.
Yeah.
And Steam video does not like me. Jittering.
And yeah, if you were confused that this did come from the Legend of Keepers developer, it really does seem like that with all the style here.
Yeah.
The call to action at the end is not the best. In fact, I missed it when we were doing our pre-stream review because the timeline or the time at the bottom was blocking it.
Oh man. I don't know what Steam is doing, but like I pull my mouse off of the video and you can see my mouse jumping back and forth on the video, even though I see my mouse over here on my other monitor and the chat, the little timer thing is bouncing up and down. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Steam today. Is it doing that to you?
Not really, but sometimes OBS does some weird things with my mouse as I'm sharing my screen or sharing my windows. And so, I mean, one thing, I think the trailer is way too long. A lot of that could have been cut. And again, for people who are new, we like trailers to be no more than 90 seconds or 1:30. And that's on the long end.
That's the longest you want.
Yeah.
Not the shortest, the longest. And the shortest is however much footage you have to show. Basically.
Yeah,
if you can only make an entertaining trailer for 20 seconds, make a 20-second trailer.
I can hear your, I think, sound in the background.
You can hear sound in the background?
Let me see. Is it this or is it this one? Like, it could just be mine. Let me see. Alright, it's good now. Yeah, and again, if they could splice in the gameplay footage, I think that would have helped this trailer out a lot. Like, it doesn't feel like it's overly long, but
it's not. It doesn't feel longer than what it actually is.
Yeah.
But it's longer than it should be.
Yeah.
And it should feel ideally shorter than what it is.
Yeah, and the call to action could be better as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is one of those trailers that's kind of weird. Like, it doesn't, I think, do anything amazing, but there's definitely issues with it. Like, we've seen worse trailers for games.
They did have pretty good structure. I mean, they had an, code opening. They had a middle long-ass cutscene, which served as both the intro and the middle kind of thing, in a way. And then it had a climax, and then it had a call to action. So, like, for the most part, that was on point, structure-wise. But the fact that they didn't put any gameplay in the middle and first section, really kind of hurts it
Mm-hmm.
a lot. And I don't even know the core gameplay loop.
Yeah.
Like, I meant, like, we did a pre-show on this, and we looked at it, and I still don't know what the core gameplay loop is. My closest guess to the gameplay loop is Legend of Keepers,
Yeah.
just slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
That's my best guess.
Yeah. And to Simon's question, how your first trailer showed mostly gameplay with UI, not CGI. Like, if you're going to do gameplay, you want to touch it up. You don't want just kind of like naked footage or raw footage. Zoom in. You want to be able to show somebody what the game is going to be like.
Although you do need to show UI at certain points,
Mm-hmm.
especially at the beginning of the trailer, but that's only if you cannot correctly convey what the gameplay is without using any kind of UI element.
Yeah, and again, every genre is different. It's far easier to convey a platformer than would be, a tactical strategy game.
Yeah, if for a tactical strategy game, you would definitely have to show some UI at certain points.
Yeah, or no one's going to know how to even play it.
Yeah,
And
I think the same thing goes for a CCG, or a roguelike deck builder kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're going to have to show parts of the UI, especially at the beginning, to convey what's going on. Because if you just took like Slay the Spire and zoomed in so that you only seen the characters kind of thing and none of the UI, you would have no idea what kind of game that was.
Or like a 4X strategy game. Like, imagine trying to explain to somebody what Stellaris is without any UI elements.
Yeah.
It's just a simple game. You just move a ship around. You can figure that out in like 20 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
And hey, Smoke, hope you're doing well. Alright, but yeah, so like, it's by no means a bad trailer, but it's kind of like on that bubble. Like, I feel like it definitely doesn't go into the D range. Absolutely not. But it doesn't go into the A range. And I'm kind of debating, high C, low B. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a B minus.
Yeah, I think I'll go with a C plus because, like, I just feel like it's missing something to kind of get over that hump.
It's missing gameplay.
Yeah.
That's dispersed in between,
Yeah,
like now it's again, I have no clue what this gameplay loop is, so that is a failing of the trailer. The trailer should at least give me some kind of basics to what the game is actually going to be.
Yeah, and while you don't want to have like text while you're showing footage, in some cases you may need that just to say, roguelike adventure, build teams, because at the end of the day, the trailer's job is to get people excited about your game, but also explain to them what said game is going to be.
Yeah, and I think you can do text on a separate screen while in between footage as well. But it can't be just a black screen. It needs to be a cosmetically appealing screen.
Yeah, and the text has to be readable as well. Yeah. So,
and it also needs to be very, very short.
Yeah, like we don't want the entire screen of text. Maybe like 3-4 words at most.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the images. So the thing about these images is we did a check when we were doing a kind of our pre-review of this, and while there are 7 images, 3 of them were clearly in the trailer. The first one,
all of the combat ones.
Yep. Number 4 and number 7. So 4 of these screenshots are original. So we have kind of like looks like almost like a Civ or hex-based map. We have what appears to be, looks like it could be like
character
passive
selector.
Buffs. Yeah. Character selector, which looks very much like Legend of Keepers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And Looks like
So does
Smoke and
the
and Simon are both. We have some international audience here, which is always great
Nice.
to hear.
Yep. I need to test in my chat.
And so the screenshots are good, I think, from an aesthetic point of view. But the problem is that you want 5 original screenshots. So we didn't quite get that with this one.
Yeah. And it's really sad because, I mean, this is just magnifying the issues that were in the trailer.
Yep, still don't know, like, how I'm playing this game. Like, I assume we're going to be managing these characters. Like, I feel like this is very much going to be like an evolution or maybe just a side grade of Legend of Keepers, where it's going to be very hero character focus.
Yeah, I don't know what the gameplay loop is, but best thing I can think of is something, beside, you know, of Legend Keepers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is in Legend of Keepers, from watching that trailer, I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah, this.
I knew what you know I knew what I was doing at any point in that store page, and this one I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I can only guess.
Yep. And because of that, it is taking the store page down. Like, it's
Yeah.
not horrible. Like, that's the thing. Like we said when we did our kind of our review show, where we kind of explained how we did this. Most games will probably end up in the C range. And it takes doing really amazing things to go higher and really horrible things to go lower.
Well, it's amazing within the category kind of thing.
Yeah.
I guess you would say,
Mhm.
or which screenshots is kind of that weird one where you don't have to do anything amazing to get an A.
Yeah, and it also doesn't really factor that much in when it comes to like our overall grade because of it. So
Yeah, because I mean, you can just put 5 different screenshots that
look
tell
nice.
what the tell what the gameplay loop is, and you're an A minus right
Yeah.
there. It's very basic, very simple to get A minus in screenshots.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to get that when it comes to trailer and thumbnail, which are
yeah.
far more important. So
Yeah.
overall, again, like even though it doesn't meet our minimum, or at least our minimum of original, I should say. I mean, the screenshots aren't bad.
There's four original screenshots, which means that we gotta penalize it for missing one of them because we're going to say the other 3 don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to take it from that A minus of having 5 of those, which is again very easy to achieve, down to a B minus for me.
Yeah, like I don't feel it deserves in the C range for this. But yeah, we can't at least give it a solid B, because I think we have to say that for, getting the minimum right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think B minus is fair. So let us scroll down, and we'll take a look at the About This Game page. So we have custom banner and GIFs, which are always nice. You really do want to have, you want to have organization. You want it to look aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, and you also want to have, break up the text so that you're not drowning people out with walls of text.
Yeah, like the second paragraph is borderline too long.
I wouldn't say borderline too long. It's definitely too long, but it's not too long by much.
Yeah, like maybe 5-6 words.
Yeah. If it ended at capital, then this would have been fine.
Yeah.
But we're not going to penalize it for having just a couple words too many.
Mm-hmm. I love
it. Just may add or subtract to something that we find later.
Yeah, I love the second GIF banner because this is actually a GIF, but it's so subtle that I had to stare at it for like a minute and a half to see if there's any like movement going on in it.
Oh, you're talking about the main features one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they needed more movement in that.
Mm-hmm. So, part of the problem with this is that, again, we're being told, but we're not seeing this.
Yeah, we
all
have all these bullet points and nothing showing us anything about these bullet points.
we're... Oh, that's good. We're more interesting than LOL. That's great. We need to put that on a tagline somewhere.
Yeah, we'll just post that on Twitter. More interesting than LOL. when we put it up.
Yeah. And again, this is the big problem with this page, is that I still don't know what this game is actually going to be gameplay-wise. Make choice that will affect your future expeditions. Okay, what are they? Each got a different job, don't underestimate.
Yeah, and like this bottom GIF is just scrolling over a map, and it's just like, well, what is that for?
Yeah. I just don't know. And again, it's not a bad page. That's the thing.
The structure's here.
Yeah. But it's missing.
Although it could be better.
It's definitely above average. But it's
way above average.
But it's missing, I think, what goes beyond. This would definitely not be, I think, an A grade page because of it.
I think it's not going beyond. I think they're missing the regular stuff, actually telling you what the gameplay is going to be. So I think they went beyond, but they missed the basics kind of thing. So
yeah.
it's sort of, I think, the genius with no common sense kind of thing. Like they miss the most easy and common stuff that is the most important stuff, while getting
the advanced stuff,
high polish and high advanced stuff. Yeah,
having custom banner gifts, that is definitely above what we normally see for a lot of indie developers. So grade wise, this is again one of those things where we're kind of hovering between different points about, because it is very hard. It doesn't do enough right, in my opinion, to go into the A range. But at the same time, it does do enough, I think, to get it beyond C. So I think it's lying somewhere in the B range.
Yeah, I'm going to go B minus.
Yeah. And I think I'll split the difference with you. I think I'll go solid B on this one. It's very hard. I think it's B minus B, in that kind of middle ground of what this page would be.
Yeah.
Everything's a time waste, right?
B minus and a half.
Yeah. So let's get to the title card, because fortunately,
or would it be minus B?
Yeah.
It's the B minus.
Title card is fortunately one that's a lot easier to grade on, because we're looking for very specific things. So right off the bat, we do see one bit of an issue. We only have one genre tag, and you want to have at minimum 3.
Yep, which is definitely going to lose at some points. But luckily, the 2 that it's missing are give me's. They have
single
the important
player
one
indie
in here. Yeah. They have the important one here.
I would probably add RPG as well to this.
Depending on the core gameplay loop that we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you want at least 3, and the reason why is that, as Shark said, single player and indie are just gimme ones. If you're a multiplayer, replace single player with multiplayer. But the point about the genre tags is that this is how the algorithm knows what your game is about. If you don't have them, it's going to be harder for Steam to recommend your game to people.
Yep.
So we have developer and publisher are somewhat different.
Yeah, so they don't have to be different. They just need to be professional. It doesn't matter if they're different or the same. It just matters that they're both professional, not a name of a person.
Game that received the highest mark. I know we've given some A's. I think Over Vita got an A. Auction Not Included got an A. Rise of the Slime, I think, got either high B or A. We've yet to get.
I think it got an A. It either got an A minus or a solid A for its overall grade.
Yeah. I don't think we've given out one A plus overall yet.
Yeah, I think we've only given out one actual A. I think everything else has been A minus.
Yeah.
Or lower.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when we're talking about overall grades, yeah, it's only no A pluses and one solid A, and I think like 3 A minuses. I think we've had like 15, 20 B pluses though.
Yeah, a lot of B's and B pluses. Yep. So, back to the title card. So we have a Twitter, and you can message them on Twitter. I checked that out. They have their YouTube channel.
And it's active.
Yeah. But very few subs, which is very weird.
Yeah, that is definitely weird considering the games they published and made.
And it's very hard to Simon's comment about how reviews affect sales, because we've seen big name YouTubers cover games that do very little, and then some games that get a lot with very little marketing and buzz.
I tell you that it only matters to a very small degree, at least to this point. Let's finish this, and then I'll give my answer to that with an example from my last game.
Okay, so title card. Now, they are missing a Discord, and like we've said, in today's market, with a lot of people using Discord for marketing, networking, and PR purposes, you do need to have it.
Yeah, having a Discord for a commercial game right now is absolutely required.
Mm-hmm.
Although, in a year or two from now, can't say. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I think it will be, but, only time will tell.
Yeah. So without having a Discord, that does basically keep it from A range right now.
And missing those 2 tags.
Mm-hmm. So, but they do have Twitter. They do have ways to get in touch. And the question is, how much do we knock it for the lack of tags?
B minus.
All right. Yeah, I think B minus B again. Like for me, like it's. Again, I think they do enough right to keep it out of the C range, but not enough to go beyond that.
A lot of talent, so judges are paid off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't get paid for this yet.
Good grades.
There you go. You want an A plus, you know what to do. So overall grade time. So the overall grade, as we've said before, kind of begins at the trailer. Because a trailer is your major form of marketing, not just on Steam, but YouTube, social media, whatever.
It's a key part of your grade. Yeah. It's the I guess it would be the meat to the bread of the sandwich, know.
And then the thumbnail
the trailer is the meat, and the everything else is the bread.
Yeah, and thumbnail is number 2 in terms of importance.
That would be your top piece of bread, and the rest of the things is probably your bottom piece of bread.
So, trailer, we gave that like C plus B minus, so that's kind of where we're going to start out. Mm-hmm. Thumbnail, we gave that pretty high. I think I gave it a B plus, you gave it an A minus.
Yep.
Images, we gave that a B minus. And we gave everything else like B minus B range as well. So... Yeah.
I feel like so when we talk about this, like, from the trailer, how much is a trailer grade affected by everything else? Well, everything else, if it was all S or A plus, it would only add 3 grades to it. So if we're starting at a
C
B
plus
minus,
B minus,
it would be an A minus at that point. Mm-hmm. If everything else is A rank, which it clearly isn't, but if everything else is F kind of thing,
it would bring
it down by 3, which would take it from a B minus down to a C minus. So the trailer grade locks you into a very tight range on your grade. So
yeah, you need to do a whole lot if you're like a C plus B minus on everything else. to get that up to an A. Like we're talking, A plus S's, and most stores don't go that far. Like we rarely see, very bad trailer and then beyond amazing everything else.
Yeah.
So, like, this is one that I feel like, at least for me, like I said, it was going to be a C plus. I feel like it does get raised, very little by what everything else they've done right, but I don't think it goes that much higher.
Yeah, I feel like, in the end, there's 3 grades between, S and, whatever it's currently at. And I feel like this is hitting in the 1.5 range.
Mm. Yeah.
So
So like,
I think we sh- I think I'm gonna go with a solid B because
mhm.
I think the 1.5 is going to compensate to go to that level.
Yeah, and I think I'll go up from a C plus to B, maybe borderline B minus B. Like again, it's like on like these
But that's
very
the reason why I
narrow.
said 1
Yeah,
plus. That's the reason why I only went up to a B
yeah,
because I'm borderline B plus.
yeah. So I think
So
I
when
will
we
go.
combine our 2 borderlines, we just get a solid B.
Yeah, and I think that's fair for this one. Like it does, I think, more things right than it does wrong, but it's not knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, and while that grade is the grade for the store page, that is not necessarily how sales will go.
Mm-hmm.
Because the aesthetics are very much on point, which is definitely going to kick that up. And then also the fact that there's confusion on the core gameplay loop and what it actually is, that's going to knock it down. By how much, we won't know.
Yeah. So,
But while we're, working on transitioning to our next game, I'll answer that question about reviews and why I think that they matter very little is because in my last game, Chromasia, we had a 100% positive review score, perfect review score, and didn't sell for anything. And I think a lot of part of it is Steam burying you. And I don't think reviews are going to convince people to buy it unless they're on the fence kind of thing. Because like most people looked at that game of mine and they seen the very obvious problem of my art not being the best. And at that point, when my art aesthetics was not good enough, it wasn't bad art, but it was not good enough for the current market by any means. And when they seen that, there was no bothering looking at the review score. Because there's Reddit posts talking about how it's probably a really crap game and everything. And they're talking about a lot about the store page, and not a single one of them looked at the review score to see that it was a perfect score. Despite they were talking all kinds of crap about the store page and the art on the store page, not a single one of them said, hey, it's got a perfect review score though. So like, I think the review score matters very, very little. I think it only matters for people who are on the fence, is what I think.
yeah. And that's something a topic for another day that we certainly delve into. But I am ready to move on to game number 2. What about you?
Yes.
All right. Let's switch
So here
over.
we have Serin Fate.
And the game was just officially released about 5 days ago at the time of this stream. So let's
Wonder how many
begin.
reviews it's got since last refreshed.
Yeah.
Not many.
Yep. So, as always, let's begin with the thumbnail. And this is, I think, a really good thumbnail.
Yeah, I think this is a super solid thumbnail. It's got structure here from the turtle dragon to the character to the Serin Fate logo. and it's got structure there, but then it has a use of negative space. It's got a really good use of negative space to where, I mean, like this mountain, if you look at it, it's pointing down at the character kind of thing. And, you know, and like this land is pointing down at the character. This one is pointing down at the turtle. And like a lot of things are pointing away from it. But here's the thing is that doesn't really matter to a point because, I mean, they already have the baseline structure, but then they have the negative space that is created by putting all of that stuff around the outside, and from that it just completely makes everything draw your eyes to that logo, creating more structure without actually even pointing towards it. It's because it's like the vacuum of space, you know. Your eyes get sucked to it, you know. You know, that hole in the spaceship may not be, you know, the easiest thing to see, but you're going to be pulled towards it nonetheless, and that's what this is creating, that negative space that is pulling your eyes towards it.
And it's very bright, it's visually appealing, like this will catch somebody's eye. And
especially the logo.
Yeah. And despite having all these elements on the page or on the thumbnail, it doesn't look busy at all.
And the colors of the logo, I mean, while everything is, you know, quote unquote vivid on the actual thumbnail outside of the logo, they're not high saturation. But they appear that way because of the vividness, you know, because of different contrasts and such like that. But the actual logo uses high saturation, and it pulls your eyes even farther towards it, you know, amplifying that effect.
Yeah. To Nikita's point, I would agree that I think the text may be a touch on the smaller side, but I think it's just borderline.
Yeah. I think they could have made it, you know, 5%, 10% bigger. But at that point, you're coming in and you're going to be touching those mountains, which is going to ruin the whole drawing your eyes from negative space. The only way for them to actually legitimately do that is to make those mountains smaller on either side of it, so that when you make the logo bigger, there would still be a good gap between it, because you see that gap they have in between, like the you know, the bottom of the S and that mountain below there. That is like the minimum amount of gap, and like you look at the other side, at the outside of the E, that distance from that to the mountain, any closer than that, and it would look really bad. So they would have to physically move the mountains back to and they'd have to be pretty strong to do that, because mountains are heavy. They'd have to activate Super Saiyan powers, and then they could, you know, maybe make the logo a little bit bigger.
And one thing that I just noticed, I didn't notice when we did the pre-review of this, is that the clouds in the background are actually like curved around, giving it like another like kind of drawing your eye effect.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this thumbnail.
Plus, there's all kinds of little cool little almost Easter egg, like the little dragon flying in the background behind by that mountain.
And the dragon turtle here with like the Mario Kart shell here.
Yeah, you know, he's better than the blue shell. He's the purple shell.
Maybe he's Wario's turtle. So I mean, like, this is definitely standout in terms of thumbnails. I think this could arguably be one of the best ones we've seen.
I think this is the best one we reviewed so far, thumbnail wise. I would give this an S rating. This is an S tier thumbnail.
I think for me, I will go A+. I think the text just being a little bit on the shorter side doesn't like ruin it, but I don't know if I feel like this goes, you know, above and beyond our grading range. But still, this is, I think, as Shark said, like the best one we've seen.
This is the top of thumbnails that we have seen to date.
Mm-hmm. But will the rest of the page keep that pace? Therein lies the question.
Stay tuned. To be continued next
Right
time.
now. So, let us go with the
Go
trailer.
figures.
Are you ready?
Steam, I don't think is ready. Okay,
Alright.
I am
3,
ready.
2, 1, go. So we start with the
So-
developer name that you don't want.
Yeah, you don't want that. Not unless you're a well-known developer.
Yeah. So, not really a cold opening.
No code opening. Just straight to an intro, which is not what you want to do.
You get like a little bit of excitement at the 18-second mark. Now, the problem that I'm sure you guys are noticing is that we're not really getting structure here. Like, it's just random images and footage.
I mean, like, it seems kind of like they got structure, but it almost seems like two different. They got two different structures of two different trailers, and then they just put the trailers back to back.
Yeah, and this is a 2.5 minute long trailer, and that is definitely way too long.
Yeah, very much too long.
I mean, it moves at a good pace. Like, the footage they're showing is very active.
Yeah. Although some of it feels like it's just gameplay clips and not like trailer footage.
Yeah. Like, this seems like just raw gameplay in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm. Like, just that walking around the scene. And that character was lifted from Stardew Valley.
Yeah, so now we're getting building at like a minute 30 in. But we're not seeing, like, where this core gameplay loop is going. We're seeing combat, we're seeing building, but what does it all mean?
Yeah, I think that might be a fault of the game itself because it seems kind of a bit all over the place.
Yeah.
But the structure of the trailer is definitely not helping. Or the double structure they're doing.
It feels like the first half was more exciting than the second half.
Yeah. And then that ending with just looking at that still image was not doing anything good.
Yeah. I mean, the call to action, though, was good.
Yeah. I think the music worked well, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, if for one thing, it's way too long, of course. But
Yeah.
it did, like, move, I think, at a good pace.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel longer than it was.
Yeah, but it was too long itself. And it just seemed like random footage.
Yeah, no real escalation. Like, there was, like, escalation like the 18-second mark, but then it just kind of dies back down.
Yeah.
And I think what Shark
That's not
said
what you want to do.
about being, like, two different trailers is an important point. Like, it feels like it could have been... Like, we could have cut this into two... 1 second. Oh, my voice is really dying allergy-wise here. But you could have cut this into, I think, 2 maybe minute 25 trailers. I think it would have flowed better.
Yeah. Or minute 15 trailers.
Yeah. So, grade-wise with this one, like, what it shows is good, but...
It's not showing it in a good way.
Yeah. And I think because of that, I can't see putting this into the B range. Like, B for me is when it does a good job, it just doesn't go above and beyond to get into the A. But it's definitely, I think, higher than a D. Like, I think it does enough right to get it out of that.
Yeah. And it's I think that it's above average, but not by much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with a C+ for my grade.
Yeah. And I think I may go for a C plus as well. Like again, if the trailer didn't flow as nicely, I think I would probably go like C minus D plus range for it. But it at least it kept it entertaining from beginning to end.
Yeah, it never felt longer. It never felt longer than what it actually is.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that that's because like certain sections of it felt shorter than it actually was, and a few others felt longer than it was actually. But then it all kind of averaged out to be feeling about the same length as it actually is, but it's just so long to begin with.
Yeah. So let's take a look at these images here. Yeah, and again, if you just go random footage, I think that kind of disqualifies you from the B range, I think.
Yeah. So with the first screenshot, I just have to point out this character, the profile picture, not the sprite, but this profile picture is just killing me because I mean, it just feels like they drew a human character and then threw these weird ears on, which is not my problem. My big problem is the party favor that is the beak. It looks just like a party favor. It doesn't look like it's part of the character in any kind of way. It looks like just somebody just got one of those cheap party favor beaks and just threw it on her and just like there it is. It doesn't feel like part of the character. It's just really killing me on that.
Yeah. So the images,
but the character in game looked really good though.
So with these images, there's a lot of them, but a lot of them were in the trailer, and some of them were just very hard to tell as well.
Yeah. And we don't even know how many of these are in the trailer and how many aren't. But we know that at least 20 of the 29 are in the trailer. So, yeah, most, at least 2/3 of these are in the trailer. And I don't feel confident in saying that all of these are not in the trailer. At the same time, I don't feel confident in saying all of these are in the trailer.
Yeah, like number 23 definitely in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I think 24 was as well.
I think everything past I think like 12 was guaranteed to be in the trailer.
Yeah. Like any of them that had like a dialogue box, I don't think they were in the trailer, but it was hard to tell. Because again, the trailer throws so much at you. But the fact that so many of them... Let's see how many people... Yeah, that's a good point, Pony. How many people actually clicked through 29 screenshots?
I know 2 of them.
Yeah, and again, like, because it's so hard to tell, I think that disqualifies us from being in the B range.
Yeah.
And
the fact that so many are duplicates, I cannot give it extra credit for having so many. Matter of fact, I've got to deduct for it to have so many, because it just, I'm just going to assume that the 9 that we have not 100% confirmed are not in the trailer, are not in the trailer. So that means if we do it based off of that, that means it has 9 original screenshots and 20 fluff that is overcrowding everything, which I think would, deduct from the score from, having like 9 screenshots to having less than 5.
Yeah.
I think that would be more like 3 screenshots because you have to look for the 9 original screenshots, if there's even 9.
Yeah, so I think because of that, I think I'm just going to go for like the default C for the images.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the default C as well because they're just normal screenshots. There's nothing special about them, and again, most of them are in the trailer. A absurd amount of them.
Yeah. To Simon's question, I don't think they track things from like Reddit, Twitter, and YouTube. I think they just care about wish lists and sales.
I believe that it does track traffic sources, but that would be only for people who go to your page. Not like it's not going. I don't think it tells you of those traffic sources which ones of those bought it and which ones didn't or anything like that. I think it just shows you, that X amount of people came from, off platform kind of thing to look at your page, but it doesn't tell you if they bought it or what the conversion rate or anything like that is.
Yep.
As far as I know, I don't know a whole lot on that, so take that with a massive grain of salt.
All right, so let's get to the about this game section, because this is
You
the
mean about
reason.
this red flag?
Yeah, and this is the reason why I voted for the game for this week, and not for it being an amazing page.
Yeah.
So,
So before we get to the about this game page, there's a little custom banner that says join their Discord. That's very good.
Yeah.
And now into the about this game page and the red flags. The about this red flags page.
Yeah. So here's what kind of is what you don't want to do when it comes to your store page. You don't want to tell people not to buy your game. And that's what this danger ahead is doing right here.
Yeah. And I want to go into detail about why I think this caused it after we look at this one part before we go on to the rest of it.
Yeah.
But when you look at this part, you have Serin Fate is deceivingly difficult and you will die. Serin Fate is not peaceful, relaxing collection game at its core.
Okay, so that
reading text is crucial. Tutorials are few and limited.
So if we stop right there, that basically tells us this is a hard game with poor onboarding. And despite the very happy, delightful stuff we saw in the trailer, it's not a relaxing, peaceful game.
Yeah. And very opposite of what was shown. And it has a hefty grind to become stronger. So, that's saying that we didn't have enough content to put in the game. So we just made it really grindy to slow your progress down. And then to, submit that point, it is not developed by a team. I offer my best, meaning that it's a solo developer that, should not be making a commercial game without a team because he's overworking himself. He doesn't have enough. He can't. He offers his best, but his best is not good enough because he is only one person. And that gets to kind of the whole summary of what I think this means. I think this means that, number one, he's a solo developer. He doesn't have enough, he doesn't have a team to actually help him add content to it. So content is being added very, very slow and, very, very, painstakingly. He's doesn't know, himself how to onboard people properly. And he also, made texts that are important skippable, which is, showing some lack in design / UX design. And this is the reason why you got to work in a team, because you need somebody who's good at everything on your team,
And you need playtesting
and
done.
one person is not good at everything.
Yeah. And
then, the fact of the that he's gone the Dark Souls route kind of thing with how hard it is probably just another way to buffer the content on top of the heavy grind. I made this really hard and really grindy so that people will go through my content as slow as possible, because there's not very much content, because I'm a solo developer and I do my best to basically screw over the customer by making it overly hard, no tutorial, and no and overly grindy, so that it takes him so long to actually go through the limited amount of content that he has. And it also sounds like he's, anti-feedback, and that people have complained and complained about how hard it is. People have complained and complained about
Mm-hmm.
it's not relaxing like the trailer showed it to them on. People have
Yeah.
complained and complained that they didn't get onboarded and they had skipped the text that he allowed them to skip, even though reading the text is crucial. He allowed them to
Mm-hmm.
skip it.
And
And they complained about the grind. They complained that he's not doing stuff fast enough. And he's like, yeah, I don't care what you say.
yeah, and
That's what this is telling me. He will
mhm.
not take any feedback, and it sounds like he's a red flag developer to his core.
And to Simon's comment, the problem with that is that the hardcore players are the most niche of your consumer base. And if we do like a review of these achievements, let's see, what do we have? Like, if you go to these achievements, they've already. The first achievement only has 18.6% completion. So there is a lot of churn. There are even achievements in this game that have no completion. That is not what you want to see. Like, not even the hardcore people got all these achievements. And usually we see, like a tenth of a percent. So
Yeah,
this game is suffering from a lot of churn. And,
probably suffering from a lot of refunds
yeah.
and a
So,
lot of people pissed at it because the developer is not listening to people.
yeah. And I'm wondering, of the 278 reviews, how many people have actually seen this game all the way through?
What's surprising is with all those rates and the churn and everything,
Mm-hmm.
why is it at 81% positive?
That I couldn't tell you. And yeah, like this is, and another point, people don't want to hear your sob story, unfortunately. They don't want to hear that you took a second mortgage on your house to finish the game. They don't really care if you're a sole developer. They care about the product that's on the store page. Because if your game can accommodate them, most likely there's going to be a game out there that will.
Yeah. Nobody's buying your sob story.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to, buy your game, your product, the product that you're selling. Nobody cares that you're solo.
Yeah. So if we move down, like the main features is organized, but it has that same problem as Sandwalkers that I don't actually see any of this. I didn't see any familiars. I didn't really see, training and spellcasting. And this GIF is just very weird.
Yeah, this first GIF is just watch this floating castle, for no reason at all. And then it jumps.
Yeah.
Because they didn't even properly loop the GIF.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and to
It's
Will's
like
comment,
the most low quality GIF they could possibly do.
yeah, to Will's comment about Sabo is good for Reddit posts, it's also good for Kotaku articles as well, as we saw last week. Yeah, so we have main features, we have sub features.
I don't know, Simon. I'm at two minds about that. I could both agree with that, and I could both, disagree with that at the same time because Steam is technically a tool like the engine. So I could definitely give it a pass. Now then, if you're going to a publisher kind of thing and having
that's
them
a different story.
that's very much not solo.
But let's
if you're
keep things
buying
on track here.
assets, stuff like that, not solo.
Yeah, so the second GIF, again, it just is there. Like, it's not doing anything. And then we have a huge amount of text.
Mm-hmm.
We have this kind of icons, which are nice,
Who
I
knows
guess.
what that means?
We have a UI.
Which equipping stuff, and it's like, why do we need a GIF of that?
Then we have this banner of like these characters, and they just look off. Like for one thing, the guy on the left, he's missing his his left hand.
Yeah.
Like I think it would have made sense if he was over here, and that way maybe his hand could be like kind of going off the border.
And I tell you what I'm seeing here is these characters were either an asset, which is probably not true, or he outsourced them, which would make it not solo. Because if he had done these characters himself, this hand would not be missing.
Yeah. So we have another
unless he
Discord
was just
link.
completely lazy.
Yeah. And we end with another GIF that just doesn't do anything. It's just them standing around in the snow.
Yeah, none of these images or GIFs make any kind of sense in any kind of context that's here on the page.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, here, have some images and GIFs.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like they listen to like a minute of our podcast that you need, GIFs breaking up, text and everything, and then completely ignore, and then clicked off of it before they like, and you need the GIFs to correspond to what the text is saying,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, I think a lot of people aren't even going to get that far down because they're going to be immediately dissuaded by this lovely danger ahead at the top.
Yeah.
So, like, if the danger ahead wasn't there, this would probably be maybe, I don't know, maybe D plus C minus range for me. But with that warning, it just dovetails it for me.
Yeah.
So,
this warning, the warning I'm at two heads about, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Two minds about, because like the warning is very, very bad for the store page. It's not what you want at the store page. At the same time, the warning is telling you not to buy a bad game,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
not to buy this game shit.
That's almost like a community service thing, like, don't waste your time with my game. It's bad and I'm not going to listen to feedback kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, I won't give it a try.
Yeah.
I was interested in it, and then I seen that, and it's like, oh,
it'll be very.
He doesn't. This is a bad game. Okay.
It'll be very
won't touch it.
Interesting.
So it gave me an informed decision to the developer. So like that kind of part makes me like it.
It's going to be very interesting to see if the sales numbers or the reviews actually go up now that the game is out, and I don't think they are, or they won't go up that much.
Yeah.
So
also this game has a publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And had the publisher known what they were doing, they would have made a better trailer. Mm-hmm. They would have put better screenshots in here.
And they probably would have put this danger ahead.
Yeah.
So the grade wise, like, it barely avoids, I think, an F minus. I think just because of the fact that it has some color on the page, some very light organization, but it doesn't really go that much higher.
Yeah. I think this is an F plus.
Yeah.
Or rather, I think the real grade is red flag plus.
And I think I'll go F plus as well for it. Because again, this is just exactly how you don't want to convince people to buy your game.
Will you also go red flag plus?
Maybe. So
we have the danger ahead is red flag plus.
Yeah. So we had a really good grade starting out, and then it went horribly wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like the it's funny that the thumbnail got like the highest grade we've ever given out, mm-hmm. and like everything else has gotten really bad grades. That's very uncommon.
Mm-hmm. So let's go for the title card. So we have 4 attacks, so that's good. You have, I think, the big one, RPG, although you could probably have added in single player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could have definitely added that in, but we're not going to ding them for that because they have at least 3 tags.
Mm-hmm.
They have 4 tags for that matter.
Yep. So the website, we did check it out. It does look decent. It does have contact information directly on there. but there is no contact on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure the thumbnail was done by the publisher. I'm pretty sure most of the store page was done by the publisher, aka outsourced, not solo.
Yep.
Because having a publisher is definitely not solo.
Nope.
And Stardew Valley has a publisher, therefore, it's not a solo-made game.
It may have started out solo, but it didn't end solo.
Yep. And to be truly solo, it has to be Han Solo.
So we're also missing the Discord. You can put your Discord on the title card. So that also dings them some points.
Yep, they should have their Discord on there.
Mm-hmm.
We know they have a Discord, but even if we didn't know they had a Discord, they still need a Discord on there. They would still get pinged for not having it on there. But, you know, the fact that we know it, they have one, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Just, you know, verifies that they have one, so they at least did that good.
Yeah.
But they did not put it on the title card.
Yep.
Although, to be fair, luckily with them, the Discord emblem lines right up with their title card. So, I mean, they're probably not going to take a hit from that one, but, you know, like, we're going to hit them in the grade anyway for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, it is a good title card. Again, with it, I don't think it gets into the A range, but it's still, I think, scores fairly high.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, I feel like B plus for me.
Which one are you going to go with? Because I'll split the difference with you because I'm going the same way.
Yeah. I'll go B then.
Then I'll go B plus.
Yeah. I mean, if it had the one other tag to take up to 5, if it had like all the best tags, I think easy B plus.
I think it'd be.
But it still needs a Discord on there to get into the A range.
Yeah.
So, overall, this is going to be a weird one in terms of our overall grade.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up.
Uh-oh. Am I losing? Let's see.
You're roboting.
Uh-oh. It's weird. Let's see what's going on with Discord. It looks good. Am I better now?
Yeah, you're better now.
That's odd. Well,
so overall, we're looking at the trailer has a core grade
but maybe like a C plus.
C plus. So now the question is how much is that moved up or down? You know, I mean the thumbnail was amazing. You know, I gave it an S. You gave it an A plus.
So I would have moved it up.
Yeah, and the images, you know, we gave it a C, so that would move it down just slightly.
And then the About This Game page is like the Hindenburg.
Yeah, and gave it an F plus. Taking that down quite a lot. And then the title card is BB plus.
But it's also the least important.
Yeah. Which will bring it up though. So
yeah. If like this page I think has more things lower than the trailer than it does higher. And the one of them that it does have lower is the second it's very important and it's also the lowest, you know, one of the lowest grades.
Yeah, like I feel like we're going off of our normal scoring here because like you know, based off of our normal scoring, I would say the C plus, you know, would actually be more like a B minus after, you know, or something, or maybe even a solid B after you average out all the grades. But just because the impact is so hard from the red flags, there's no way I can give that kind of score because like if you look at it, like I mean everything raises a trailer grade except for the About This Game page. You know, you have the really good thumbnail that brings it up, the title card that brings it up. The thumbnails don't bring it up, but they pretty much hold it, you know. And the only thing that realistically brings it down is the about this game page with
But it's a
the red flags.
huge way of bringing it down.
Yeah. And I don't think, like, when we talk about our score averages, that would be enough to bring it down by a whole lot, because I mean, the about this game page is not all that important. But just because of how many sheer amount of red flags in that,
it's essentially just a giant unforced error on the developer's part.
Yeah, because like, I think if you took our grades and averaged them, this would be a B plus, or a B rather.
Yeah.
And this is not a B page.
No.
Because of those red flags. Had it not been for those massive red flags, yeah, this would have been a B page.
Yeah. So I think it does go down. I don't think it goes into the D range. I think it does too many things at least accurately enough to get it above that.
Yeah.
But
I think this would be a solid C page.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel C- may be a touch too low for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I feel C plus is just, I think keeping it at the trailer grade with all the other issues we saw is also being too generous.
Yeah, because I mean, the thumbnail is amazing.
The
tags would bring it up. The screenshots would basically hold it. But the about this game page, while it's not important, the fact that you put so many red flags in it, you know, it doesn't so much impact that grade, but it impacts the whole page overall, and just like, we cannot give it that high of a grade.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think like C is fair for it because of it. So very interesting how this turned up. Like, we were thought like these two pages would have gotten higher when we like kind of picked them a few days ago. And they got decent grades, but you know, we did not even see that about this game section when we first picked this game. And then we saw it very quickly, and then it's like, we needed to put this on because of that reason. So
those red flags.
Yep. So with that,
I will officially give this game an overall grade of red flags out of red flags.
So
what about you?
I'll give it, I think, the average C with a red flag.
Give it a red flag grade.
You know, I'll try to be at least a little bit nice there. But I think with that, we will wrap things up for this week's show. So for those of you who've watched the entire thing, thank you so much for tuning in live or recorded. You'll find links to all of our social medias and contacts and all that great stuff in the descriptions.
Yep, and be sure to lick the smash button, smash the like button on both Josh's and my channel. Again, like Josh said, links to everything, Discord, you know, each other's YouTube channels, all that stuff is down below.
If you want to catch these shows live, we do them Mondays around 4 p.m. ET. And if you want to learn more about game design and game dev, tune into the Safely Extreme cast Sundays, starting at 4 ET. But I think that's all we have to say.
Yep.
No red flags for our outro, at least.
None yet.
Yeah. So, with everything, thank you so much for tuning in. Come back for our daily discussions on game design here, and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. Until next time, take care.
See ya.